amigos, I'm the Spanish chef Omar Allibhoy, and today I'm going to show you one of the very best tapas out there. It's called Tigres, and it's made out of mussels with a béchamel that you feel the shell of the mussels themselves, coat them in breadcrumb and deep fry them. So they are very laborious, time consuming, and probably the reason why they are very hard to find in Spain these days in tapas bar. It used to be very popular, very common, and as a kid it was one of my all-time favorites, but these days you just simply can't find them. And it may well be that it's been 2 or 3 years since I ate the last tigre in a tapas bar. As annoying as it sounds, you know, it's the pressure of high rents, wages, VITs and all the things that annoyingly it makes us restaurateurs look for solutions and alternatives to those pressures, and you end up putting more simpler dishes on your menu. But anyway, that's why I'm here, to give you the recipe so you give them a try. I can't wait to eat them with my family, I have to say, because I know they haven't eaten them for a very long time either. And so I'm gonna show you how to do them very quickly, but before I do, I wanted to tell you this recipe. It's from my cousin Vanesa, who lives in Burgos, and she has her own little restaurant, which is beautiful. And I will put a link in the description box below into her restaurant in case you ever go, because she was a champion with this recipe on one of these very freaky, geeky Spanish food competitions, which was a competition exclusively of tigres, which is you know, quite crazy thought, but that's how competitive we are as well when it comes to food, because customers do really appreciate quality, and if they know there is somebody that makes them better, that's where they will go ultimately. But anyway, without further ado, let me run you through the ingredients. For this recipe we're going to need plain flour, which as you can see there is 2 mountains, one is for the coating, another for the bechamel, some panko breadcrumbs, butter, bay leaves, whole nutmeg, white pepper powder, whole milk, leek, eggs, Spanish onion, table salt, and good fresh mussels. We're going to start by preparing the main ingredient, which we will need later on, but I like to start with it so it's ready, and that is the mussels. So first of all, you have to clean them well, rinse them in water, change that water 2 or 3 times to make sure that it releases any sand that may have. As well, we need to remove the beards from each of the mussels as well, which are non-edible, and then just drain them from the water. Now, time to cook it. We're going to prepare a small to medium size saucepan with the whole milk and the bay leaf, and as soon as it starts to show bubbles, like it's about to start simmering, that is the point when we need to add our mussels and cook them with the lid on for about 3 minutes. That's all they will take to cook for, and for all to open. At that point, drain the whey, which has a split from the curdles, because the milk doesn't mean that it's off, it just means that it has a split. That is all. It's how you make cheese. In this case, the mussels have a bit of acidity and they create the milk proteins to split. That is all. But we're gonna keep both. So when you open your mussels and you take your mussel meat, as well keep that curds with them, okay? As well as the whey, which is the leftover liquid, which in this case is not just the whey from the milk, it has as well the juices from the mussels. So that's, we'll have a beautiful sort of fish stock, quite aromatic flavor. Another ingredient that we are going to need is the boiled eggs. So we're going to put on a separate saucepan over high heat, just simmer them for about 4 minutes, and we are going to chop them into small little pieces in the same way as we're going to be chopping our mussels with cardle, and just set them aside for later. Now let's start with all the ingredients for our bechamel. So we're going to finely chop our Spanish onion as well as the leek, okay? Small brunoise. This will be the base of our sofrito, and it will be quite aromatic and sweet. Now, on a separate saucepan, let's start creating our silky bechamel. place the butter in a small saucepan with the onion and the chopped licked over medium heat, and we're going to fry it for about 10 minutes gently until it sort of looks translucent. At that point, we're going to add our plain flour, which will start forming the roux with the white pepper to give it a chance to toast both of them. The white pepper to release some aroma and their essential oils, and for the flour to don't have that sort of rubbery texture undercooked flour that it has when you boil it with milk. As well, we're gonna finely grate the nutmeg and slowly start pouring our way. As you can see, I've added just like a ladle, and it sort of starts thickening and forming the roux. And add another ladle and keep adding and stirring slowly so that it all integrates until you have a thick bechamel. At this point, which probably is it's been already about 20 minutes, we're going to add our chopped mussels with the cuddles. We're gonna season it with a little bit of salt, give it a good stir so that it all combines, and we're going to follow with the boiled egg. As you can see, it's quite finely chopped, both the egg yolk and the egg white. Now cook it for a remaining 5 minutes, so it's probably a total of 30 minutes that bechamel is being cooking in there, and now we're going to let it cool down slightly. While that happens, finely chop some flat leaf parsley, which we're going to fold through while it starts to cool down, and about 5-10 minutes later we're going to start filling our mussels, our shells, which I've washed with some cold running water. Use them as a spoon, grab the bechamel. If by any reason it's a bit too hot, just wait a bit longer, but you can see mine has thickened up substantially. Once you have them all ready, facing up, using a little sieve, I'm just going to coat them with a bit of flour. Traditionally, you coat them in flour all the way through, shells and the top, but really I don't think there is a need. Just dusting it from the top will do the job. Now, time to coating it. It's a bit of an assembly job in here, and I always question myself, if Henry Ford was in the room today, what would he be doing? And in this case, I think this is what he would do. Put the mussels with the flour in one side, whisk some eggs and put in another tray, have your panko breadcrumbs in another, and a tray where you're going to be finishing them off. So just remember a traditional coating: flour, egg wash, breadcrumb. And it's time to fry them. I am using a small saucepan so that I create like a fryer container. You can do them in a wider frying pan as well, but I prefer this technique. And I'm using some extra virgin olive oil as well as some sunflower oil. One of the keys for Spanish cuisine is to fry in olive oil, at least in some percentage. It really tastes good when you eat it. And we're gonna cook them for about a minute and a half, 90 seconds, until they are nice and crispy. If you don't like frying, I've tried, as you can see, to cook them in the oven at 180 degrees for about 7 to 8 minutes. It's not the same, but they taste very similar. It's just that the breadcrumbs are a little harder on the outside. And the moment of truth, let's give these tigres a try. Which they are brothers of croquetas, the seafood version. I mean, you can put some squid into them, some prawns, any flavors you like. But I love the fact that they are on the shell, you know, kind of a spoon. So crispy on the outside because I've used panko breadcrumbs, but so creamy, full of flavor inside. It's incredible that we haven't used any fish stock. It was just purely that little bit of flavor that the mussels have given to the milk, plus the juices that they have released. Absolutely sensational. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. I hope you give it a try. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends or anyone that you think may be interested, and please subscribe to the channel. And as well, if you are looking for the written recipe, please go to my website, thespanishchef.com, and where you can buy some online ingredients as well as my books. All the best, familia, and see you next time. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, share it, and subscribe.